It's about 15 hands up. We've been here, we'll go here, and then we'll work our way around, okay? You'll all get your shot. Go ahead, sir. Let's get a microphone to you.
Thank you. Just a quick one. I don't think it's only the towers that we are concerned about the view of. It's also the transmission lines coming up and down the mountain. It would be a scar, like a ski slope, that would be going up and down the Eden Lowell lines. And if we had these overhead lines, as I recall, just a few years ago, we were very concerned about the health from the Hydro-Quebec lines coming down across the border. They were saying that we were getting cancers from it, and there was quite a health issue with those transmission lines. And I'm kind of hesitant about having this type of situation right here in Lowell.
Who wants to answer that?
So there will be lines coming down the hill across the mountain where we call it a collector system because it's collecting the energy from the generator and putting it to the substation. There will be at the top of the ridge where the turbines are, all of that is buried below grade, so you won't see that. Coming down the mountain, there are transmission lines that come down. There'll be single pole structures, 50 to 55 foot tall poles. There will be a swath cut there. We're working with our Landworks, our visual consultant, to make sure that we minimize what that looks like so that it doesn't look like a skew on the we will be cutting. There's some techniques to minimize the impact of that visual. You can do some serpentine trimming along the edges to invest it so you don't just have a straight runway running up the hill. You do plant some low growth vegetation to help bring it up the hill after we've gone through it, put the poles up. You're going to see it. It's not going to be invisible, but there are methods and ways to try to minimize what that impact looks like on the hillside.
All right, go back on the stage there. Gentleman on the right.
Hi, my name is Steve. I want to touch base with the gentleman up front. I'm a professional artist, and the proportions on the wind towers are totally out of line. If everybody in this room can imagine a 747 standing on its end, that's just the base of the wind turbine. Okay, I'm not opposed to wind power, but you're going to have blades even higher than that, you know, whirling around. You're going to have the lights, you're going to have the sound, and I have no problem with the personal tree line level, but if we're going to do something like this, we don't need to put up 16 to 24. Let's put up 2 and put them on top of JP. This way, people at JP can hear the sound, they can see the shadows that are going across the trails. At night, if they can, get to sleep, that's great. The other thing is, instead of taking the bus tour over to New Hampshire, why don't you go out to Chateauguay, New York, where there's about 70 of them? And then you get a good vision of what this will all be. But just remember, these will be 747s. You'll have a New York skyline right on top of the Lowell Mountain.
We certainly, as I said before, the aesthetics of wind is a tough decision. I tell you, I live up on the Green River Reservoir. Been living there since 1984. I love to fish, like smallmouth bass, but I can only eat one serving of bass a month. I can only eat one serving of bass a month because it's contaminated with mercury from our Midwest coal plants. So 50% of our nation's power comes from coal. So when you think about the trade-offs, whenever you throw that switch, you're making an environmental decision, and you really have to decide what your poison's going to be. And that's just
you're wrong.
As a community.
Don't even go there. The poison is the greed.
The plan and the timeline that we talked about, we have spent the last year gathering data and bringing it together. Community data, environmental data, economic data, wind resource assessment data, engineering data, and all of these things are being married together so that before, and as Charlie had said, before the information should be available more specifically by the end of the year in terms environmental data, and we'll have the information to get out to the community before. We understand that we're sort of targeting the 1st of March. That information is out before, so that there will be an informed decision.
I'm extremely disappointed in the information we've been given tonight. When I started my research, it was on a trip to Searsburg about 6 years ago. And I took my job very seriously. And my issue was not, in the first instance, the aesthetics, the asbestos, or the pictures that were taken from intersections along 14 did not show the viewscape. My concern was looking at the money, looking at the reliability, looking at the cost effectiveness.
Yes.
And I haven't heard anything, nor have I seen on the website, the facts and figures by which I, as a legislature, by which I, as a VEC customer, by which I, who represent 8,000 VEC ratepayers, can make an informed decision or speak in an informed way publicly. Mary has talked about reliability. The true value capacity of wind power is 0. When I buy a chainsaw, I don't expect it to work 7/24, but I expect it to work when I want it to work and when I need it. And instead of telling us that this is going to generate power 80% of the time, Searsburg is 24% of the time. If you build a 60-megawatt wind farm, you're going to generate about 15 to 18 megawatts per year, right? And that, let me finish, please. And what we're doing here is we're not telling the public what the costs are. Is this a $150 million project? A $200 million project? What will the rates be to myself as a VEC customer? And where is the reliability and predictability of something that has a 0 value capacity? We can't predict when it's going to work.
Thank you. One of the risks you run by, being very honest and transparent is you come out early and talk to people. We're definitely going to provide the numbers to our membership. And, once before town meeting, once we've settled in on the numbers, we're pretty close. I've looked at the numbers, and I can assure you that from a long-term power supply standpoint, this is the cheapest you can find. Assuming this 32% capacity factor, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the thing about wind is it doesn't have a fuel cost. All of your other supplies
There's a lot of other costs. A lot of other costs.
So what happens with the wind project is the price goes down over time. So if you look at we liked the Hydro-Quebec contract because it was a flat contract. We purchased that in 1990. This price actually goes down over time. If you look at this chart right here, wind is, our current wind for next year that we've purchased is actually some of our lowest cost power. It takes into consideration the capacity factor, meaning you take 5 years of wind data, and again, you'll be able to see this on the website, and we'll make it all available to you. You can see, based on the history of wind, when it blows, what the cost of power is on the market. It's not dispatchable, the term you use for reliability. However, when it is blowing, you're able to shut down natural gas plants, which account for a large percentage of New England's power. So it offsets that natural gas that's being consumed for other projects. So it really, I assure you, you will see the numbers. I do work for you, and you'll get a chance to pour over the same numbers I look at.